Hello and welcome to Norwood News. Today is Friday, August 27th, and I'm your host, Kristen McDonald. It is great to have you with us as we end another week here in Norwood. Thursday night, the Norwood Police Department received a call that an Amazon van had been stolen from the Norwood warehouse. For more on this, we go to Lieutenant Sarah Lydon.
And on Wednesday night at approximately 6:30, dispatch was called from the Amazon distribution center up on Everett Street in Norwood for an individual that was lurking around the property that the individuals at the property knew, but they were kind of he was making them feel uncomfortable, so they wanted him off the property. When officers arrived on scene at the property on Everett Street, it was made aware of us that the individual involved had taken off and stolen one of the Amazon vans, and that he'd already left the property. So once the identification of the car was sent out, the sergeant on duty witnessed a Amazon van along Route 1 traveling northbound on Route 1. At that time, the sergeant reversed direction, got behind the van, tried to keep the van in his sight. He located the van, tried to get up to identify the registration on the vehicle. At that point, it was in the area of Route 1 and Dean, I believe, and at that point, the operator of the vehicle witnessed the cruiser, and at that point, took off. The sergeant, blew lights and sirens, tried to catch up and pursue him at a safe distance and speed that for the traffic and everything that's involved for that time of day, and the individual was not stopping for the sergeant. No one was hurt in the incident, which is always something that we take very seriously. We kind of try to run a fine line between apprehension of a suspect who we deem as being dangerous and keeping the public safety in mind. It's something that and the public safety is something that we consider paramount.
Thanks, Lieutenant Lydon, and all the officers involved. Also earlier this week, Norwood Police released a statement about an incident that took place at Hennessey Field over the weekend. Deputy Chief Chris Padden explains what took place and how parents can keep their kids safe.
Around 5:30, our dispatch center received a call for a man chasing a young girl in the woods down in the area of Hennessey Field. We sent two officers down there, Officers Willman and LaRoche, and as they approached the area, they were flagged down by two other young men, and they pointed out the suspect. The officers went over and spoke to the suspect, who refused to speak to them. Officer Willman then told the suspect that he was going to be detained for questioning and reached out to grab his arm. At that time, the suspect slapped his hand away, turned towards the officer, and took up what we call a fighting stance, where he put his fists up and was confrontational. The officers tried to de-escalate the situation briefly, but it wasn't possible, and they ended up tasing him, which is a tool that we use to incapacitate somebody. They then took him onto the ground, handcuffed him, and placed him under arrest. Upon further investigation, we found out that the suspect had accosted the young woman. She's fine. It was a verbal accosting, and chased her through the woods until they ran into some other kids in the area. And the real issue here is not, and this is a rare occurrence in Norwood, so there's really, we don't feel a large issue that people should be concerned with. The gentleman's been arrested. He's currently held on bail. Hopefully the court will hold on to him for a period of time until they make a determination of whether or not he's safe to be in the community. But the real issue ends up being that parents need to know where their kids are at. These kids were hanging out in the woods on a kind of a wooded trail, a little bit off the beaten path, and it's really not a safe place to be. And our officers are always patrolling those areas, and when we get calls from parents or the DPW or other town departments because there's activity with kids in those areas, we try and make sure that we kind of move them along. But you just never know what's going to happen in a place that is outside the eye of the public. And that's really the reason that we're putting this message out there, is that parents, talk to your kids about where they are, whether or not they're in the woods, where they're going, know where they're going. Make sure they stay in the public view, especially when you're a younger teen. It's super important.
Thanks, Deputy Chief and officers. Starting next week, the town will be implementing a new online licensing portal for the residents of Norwood. Town Manager Tony Mizuko explains.
Hi folks, General Manager Tony Mizuko coming to you with an exciting update on some online permitting. After a few years of work and an appropriation at town meeting several years ago, we're finally deploying online permitting for many of our services. Beginning in September, building, health, planning, zoning, and conservation permits will all be applied for online. Now, most of those permits are usually applied for by contractors or builders, so residents won't see too much of a change other than a streamlined process, which will help us get through applications quicker. You'll also be able to do dog licenses online, and in time, permits from the Board of Selectmen's office and other items such as trash stickers and birth certificates will eventually go online as well. Our goal is to try to bring as many of our services to the public as we can online, digitally, so you can access them 24 hours a day when it works for you. So we're excited at this first step into online permitting or a 24/7 town hall. And we're happy to bring you more. If you have any information or questions, you can always call whichever department you need a permit from, and town staff will always be available by phone or in person to assist you if you have any questions or any needs.
Thanks, Tony. Stay tuned after this break for an update from the Recreation Department about fall programming and a recent vaccine clinic hosted at Norwood High School. Welcome back. Summer is nearing an end and the Rec Department is gearing up for all of its fall programming. For more on what there is to offer, we go to Travis Farley.
Hi Norwood, Travis Farley here at the Civic Center to talk about what we have upcoming for the fall and what we just wrapped up for the summer. We just wrapped up a very successful summer with programs going off and turning into a more traditional summer for us. Pools were a great success. Father Mac stayed open until mid-August and Haas is closing on the 29th, so next week. So we had a very successful summer, so thank you Norwood for staying involved with us and joining us for this summer for all of our summer camps and summer programs. And with that being said, we talk about our fall guide. Some changes this year. Our fall guide is actually more of a traditional fall guide this year. It goes from September to December, so it has all the great things that we traditionally have. We're really looking forward to getting back to a normal fall here at Norwood Recreation. We have some of our great programs, our staple programs like School of Dance. Those classes start on September 20th. We've been in that. We've had that program for a number of years now. It's always very successful. We have a great crew of instructors coming back. It should be a really great program. That wraps up with a recital in May. We have a very popular floor hockey program that I believe is in its 50th year. That should be a lot of fun on Monday, Wednesday, Thursdays. We're actually doing for the first time an adaptive recreation floor hockey program for people or residents with disabilities. It's actually open to all resident or non-residents as well, so that's a first time for us, really trying to make an effort to be more inclusive as a department. We have some great enrichment programs, parents' night outs, our indoor tot time. It really is more of a traditional fall for us here at Norwood Recreation, which we're really excited about. And that goes into our special events, which we are, again, trying to get back to our normal fall here. A Norwood Day, September 17th, September 18th, really doesn't need much of an explanation because it's one of the larger events in towns, but that's one of our bigger events during the course of the year. Fireworks on September 17th in the middle school, September 18th on Main Street, Washington Street. We should have 200 plus vendors, a lot of great activities and stuff like that, so we're very excited about that. The extravaganza on the Sunday, it's actually moving from Saturday to Sunday after Thanksgiving. That is more of a Christmas tree lighting with a lot of horse-drawn carriage rides, caroling, some arts and crafts, should be a lot of fun. And then we have our second year of our Fall Fest. So that was a very successful fall program we ran in 2019 with a pumpkin float. And it's just a weekend full of fun activities, trunk or treat. So we hope you enjoy it. Registration actually starts on the 24th, which is this week. If you have any questions, call 781-762-0466. Again, it's 781-762-0466 with any questions. We hope you enjoy our fall offering. We hope to see you at the Civic and around the fields this fall. Thank you.
Thanks, Travis. Tuesday night, the NHS cafeteria was the host of a free vaccine clinic for Norwood residents ages 12 and older. This clinic was run by Vaccinate RX and allowed residents who are not yet vaccinated the opportunity to get either their first or second shots.
We're here tonight at the high school and we're giving COVID vaccines to any students as well as Norwood residents who are interested in getting vaccinated tonight. We're giving the COVID vaccine to anyone who's 12 and over. Yeah, we're hosting this clinic hoping that we can get as many of the kids and as well as their families and any staff, faculty vaccinated before school starts again. it's the summer and everyone's been outside, but once we're going back inside, we want to make sure that everyone's as protected as they can be. It's important that those that can get vaccinated do, so that they can protect the people that can't.
Thanks, Leah. This summer, the school's IT department hired 3 recent graduates and a member of this year's senior class as interns. They learned a lot and were a big help for the department. Here is Joe Kidd, Director of Technology, to explain the program.
2 years ago, with the help of Mel Jean Noel, the career counselor at the high school, we received a grant through Mass Hire to hire 2 high school students as technology interns for the summer. Last year, we could not do it because of COVID. So this past summer, we were able to secure some different grant funding. Again, with the help of Mel at the high school, we hired 4 high school students to help us out this summer, which they've been incredibly helpful in helping us to prepare for the upcoming school year.
Yeah, so a big part of our summer this year was creating new asset tags for all the Chromebooks at the elementary schools, and we then imported those into Incident IQ, which is a ticketing and inventory system, and that was a really great experience.
We replaced the hard drives and the iMacs with solid-state drives just to kind of improve the overall performance of the Mac, to have the OS boot faster and just the software boot faster. And we also imaged a lab in the middle school, which that imaging is basically loading a new operating system or the same operating system on with different softwares, just so you don't have to go through the pain of downloading every single software. You use one USB stick and it can just go into every computer.
In addition to helping fix Chromebooks, one of the things I did this summer was help distribute Chromebooks to students. On that day, all of the Chromebooks were lined up in alphabetical order, and when the parents drove up, we put them in the back of the car, and then they're all set for the new school year.
This year I was able to deconstruct the Chromebooks that we were able to use throughout the year, and it was good to see what goes into what I use for school every day.
Joe Sleeman was the student supervisor, and he describes how the students helped the IT department complete their summer projects.
They were a huge help this summer. They allowed the department to get things done that they wouldn't normally have gotten done this summer alone. We re-inventoried our entire district and completed some tasks that were priority thanks to COVID in terms of reorganizing elementary school carts. We were allowed to get going much faster, and I think we're going to be in much better shape for the new school year thanks to them.
For Sleeman, working with high school students all summer long was fun and very interesting.
It was excellent. It was kind of surprising. I definitely felt old. It's amazing how long ago high school was, and how much it's kind of changed in comparison, right? They're telling stories and talking about things that happened over the course of their career in school. And it was just dramatically different than mine was, which was entertaining to say the least. But again, it did make me feel old at times, especially when they had them choose the music in the afternoons.
In addition to learning about computer updates, replacement, and repair, the students also learned about responsibility and teamwork.
I learned about how important it is to get the opinion and expertise of many different people, because everyone's opinion is valuable when it comes to making a plan.
I think I got more out of this job than what I initially expected. I didn't think I'd get administrative rights in the ticketing and inventory system. I thought we'd kind of just be helpers, but we really were like a huge part of redoing all the inventory and putting everything in the new system.
I think a big part of something that I learned was kind of trusting myself and my abilities, working with a team. It's really a new experience, and collaborating and just focusing on your own skill sets and making sure that you get the job done.
I would definitely recommend this to someone next year. It's such a fun experience. It's definitely, you put the work in that you get out of it, and it's really rewarding, and especially to see that the next future students around the public school system will get to benefit from it as well.
The summer intern program helped the school department prepare for the start of school this September. It also provided the interns with hands-on experience and a summer job, and Joe Kidd is already looking ahead to next summer.
So for next year, we want to continue this program. We'll continue to identify funding to hire interns. We had a junior on staff this year. We'd like to continue to have him next year, along with 3 other new interns. And you know, I think the experience is both very valuable to the students, but also valuable to the Norwood Public Schools as well. And we'd like to see this program continue for years to come.
This intern program was obviously a success, and let's hope other departments in the town can use it as a model to start their own. Now we're going to toss it over to Mike Maloof for this week's sports update.
Thanks, Kristen, and welcome to the Sports Update. We're happy to announce that fall sports are back. This week, fall teams took to their respective fields, courts, and courses for tryouts. Temperatures were in the 90s with heat indexes over 100 some days, so hydration was key to keep these athletes safe. I was able to head out to the turf and catch up with field hockey coach Allison Dolliner to see how tryouts were going.
So this summer we've actually been able to have a few more extra tryout practices in there than normal. We're allowed 13 practices this summer, so our first 3 days this week have gone really well. It's been hot, but the girls have been working really hard. We have some awesome returning upperclassmen, a lot of talent coming back from the last few years. And the freshman classes come in with a really good intensity. They're pushing some of the upperclassmen, so it's been really great and really competitive the last 3 days.
Coach Dolliner is looking forward to returning to a normal schedule and rules for this upcoming season.
Yeah, I think this season, you know, it'll look a lot more normal than last year. We're able to have a full schedule. We're going to be playing 11v11, which I think is a relief for most of our girls. The 7v7 was definitely pushed some of them out of their comfort zone last year. So. It's going to look a lot more normal, and we're looking forward to some really good competition out there this fall. The Tri-Valley has some really strong teams as far as field hockey goes, so it's going to be good and it's going to be competitive, and it's definitely not going to be easy, but I think from what I've seen the last 3 days, the girls are up to the challenge.
Great work by all the athletes during this challenging week. Sports coverage for NCM will begin in 2 weeks, so stay tuned for our broadcast scheduling updates. That's all for sports. Kristen, back to you.
Thanks, Mike. Stay tuned after this break for more town news.
Hi, I'm Chief Bill Brooks of the Norwood Police Department. The men and women of the Norwood PD are committed to protecting you and to providing you with top quality service. We're busy. Norwood is a nice town, but in any given 24-hour cycle, we handle anywhere from 65 to 90 radio calls and officer-initiated events. We patrol the town's 10 square miles, including over 100 miles of roadways. Our traffic enforcement focuses on places where crashes have occurred, neighborhoods where residents have reported chronic violations, and offenses that impact crashes, like speed, texting, running stop signs and red lights, and failing to yield to pedestrians. When we're not tied up on calls, we work hard to build relationships with members of the community. So you'll see our officers out walking footbeats, checking in with merchants, and stopping at sporting events to chat with kids. We believe that every resident should know, or at least feel like they know, a member of our department. So if you see us, stop and say hello. We'd love to chat with you. On behalf of the men and women of the Norwood Police Department, it's our pleasure to serve you.
Welcome back. Monday, police units, along with Norwood Fire and Norwood Light, were on scene at Railroad Avenue and Baker Street for a tractor-trailer unit that took down a utility pole. Around 40 residents lost power, but light department crews were able to restore that power within 3 short hours. And just a reminder to residents, this weekend will be the first annual Ron Marshalsea Scholarship Wiffle Ball Tournament at the Norwood Elks. This tournament will help raise funds that will be awarded to a 2022 Norwood High School graduate going into the trades. Well, that's all for Norwood News. To stay up to date with Norwood Community Media, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend.